astronomy from space. We're doing astronomy from space right now. Everybody's seen pictures from the Hubble telescope. We've got the James Webb telescope coming online, and as a is it Parek? Parek? Is that who introduced me? I'm going to wait till I hear. The person who introduced me
Hello, sir.
said, yes. My question was, um,
Yes, sir.
yes, I've lost my train of thought. So stick around. So if I call you, oh yeah, how do I pronounce your name?
So, Suresh.
Say again.
Suresh.
Surish.
Yes, yes.
Surish. Your icon that I'm looking at says something different. Okay, thank you, Surish. If I call you again, please jump in, will you?
No, no problem, sir.
Thank you. All right. So one of the big challenge when you're in another country besides the United States, I'm in the United States right now, and one of the
Yes.
big challenges is, okay, I've got this now. If I call for you, jump in, okay? All right.
Okay,
So,
sir.
all right. So one of the big challenges, if you are not in the United States, is figuring out how you can be involved in the space industry. And when I talk about the space industry, yes, I'm talking about astronomy, but I'm talking primarily about all the industry that is developing in the field of space industry. That is that is going to be manufacturing. That's going to be energy production. That is going to be space tourism. And these are the places where we can find, especially as young people, where you as a young person can find a place where you fit into a career in space and astronautics. This is how you're the right place listening to this. As I explained at the beginning of this call, last night my son and I ate some bad food. I had food poisoning last night. It made me very sick, and nonetheless, somebody on this call today listening right now might be very important, and something I have to say might land with you. It might connect in a way that changes your future. And that's the point of this conversation. That's why, even though I am not feeling 100%, even though my stomach is hurting me right now, even though that I get to be here today, because you might be the most important person when it comes to whatever happens next in space. And when I say whatever happens, anything is on the table. This is the most exciting time when it comes to space careers. Not before, not before. Now we have all of these space companies: SpaceX, Blue Origin, United Launch Alliance, uh, Virgin Galactic. We have ISRO, ESA. We have JAXA. All of these different companies, Roscoe Cosmos, that are producing space professionals, people who work in the space industry, space professionals. So before, if you wanted to be in the space industry, there were not many positions and there weren't many opportunities. But now there are plenty, and there will be a lot more. What I'm going to share with you today is how if you are not in a place where there's a lot of space industry, how you can find a place to fit in the same way that this magazine was created to create to as a vehicle for opportunity to be connected to the space industry. In the exact same way, you can do that as an individual. It isn't just about creating a company. I don't like to create companies. That's not my I don't enjoy it. I don't like being that person. I don't like being the CEO. I don't like doing that. That's not fun for me. I like working in the space industry. That if I wanted to start a company, I don't know that I would go into this to start a space company. I would start a company that would be one of these companies that I know would be very successful, like an ice cream shop. No kidding. If I was interested in business, I wouldn't necessarily go into the space industry, because if I was interested in just business, I would go into some field that I know that it's going to be easy to make money. Maybe real estate, maybe groceries, like industries that are well established. People who are chance takers, risk takers, that's who start companies in the space industry right now. It's not so stable. It's not as stable as food items or clothing items. So why would I start a business in the space industry if my goal is to work in the space industry? Another way to do it, instead of starting your own business, is to surround yourself with people who are space professionals. That's one. Surround yourself with people who believe in your vision for yourself. That's two. And do the work that's going to put you in front of people. I see everybody has a LinkedIn profile now. That's important, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing, excuse me, the most important thing that you are going and to take away from this conversation, and the most important thing that you can do to work in the space industry is this: network. And network is not just make connections. It is not. Anybody can make connections. Anybody can. People reach out to me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Twitter, and all the different platforms all the time. But that's not a legitimate connection. But then I have students who stay in contact with me, and they bring me their successes. They let me know what they want. I have students that contact me and reach out. Please help me. Please, Mr. Mongo, help me. Please, I will do anything. Please, can you help me get to the United States? Can you help me find a scholarship? Can you help me get a job? I have so many students that do that. If we just keep on asking for things, like, it is important to let people know what you want to do. If you want to work in the space industry, declare it. I'm going to work in the space industry. Then find people who believe in your vision and surround yourself with them. These can be friends. These can be family members. These can be mentors and mentees. And then make the connections, and then add value to the connections that you make. Bring something to the connections that you make. Not money, not opportunity. That's not on the table right now. You're new in your career. You're not going to have those things. What you can do is show the work that you're doing. Send papers. Students send me papers all the time. I love reading students' papers. Students let me review their resume. I love doing that. I do it. I don't love doing it. I do it because I want to help you get to the highest point that you can achieve. And if you want to work in the space industry, I support that. If you're in India, you may have it may be a greater difficulty to work in the space industry. So then we get to figure out how to get you in the space industry when it's a greater difficulty. One of the ways that I have found it is an excellent way to make good, solid connections and relationships in the space industry anywhere. Jamaica, India, Haiti, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, is to write letters, not emails. Emails are okay. Emails, everybody does them. I get so many emails, it's too much. But when somebody writes me a letter, I have to write back. I have to. It's just so thoughtful a thing when someone writes me a letter. So if I was you and I was a new student, 10-1, 10-2, I would write K. Savan. I would write him a letter. I would write them a letter. And I would tell them what I want to do. And I wouldn't ask them for their help. Because how many students must write K. Savan and ask for help? I would propose some new idea I have. I would ask for a recommendation to what I can do to be successful in my career. In the very least, you're almost certainly going to get a letter back from K. Savan, and that's something that you want to have. An actual letter from K. Savan, director of the ISRO. That's a great thing to have. It's something that you can stand on as a student. There's more. It's not just Kesavan. There's plenty of people in the space industry in India. Plenty. Everybody's on LinkedIn. So look on LinkedIn. Find who works in the space industry or a related science industry. A related science industry in India. Because most people, I think, are from India that we're talking with today. So find some place. But if you're not, whatever country you're in, find a leader. If you don't want to write, here's one. If you want to write somebody and you already written Kesavan. Let's say you wrote K from ISRO. What next? Well, write the president of the country. If you don't like the politics of the president of the country, write a leader that you are inspired by. Don't write Elon Musk. You can, but imagine how many letters Elon Musk gets. Don't write Jeff Bezos. Again, the richest person in the world. How many letters must they get? Write a letter to somebody who's in reach with you in your nation, whatever nation that is, who works in the space industry or is a successful person, somebody who's very successful, and you can say, I know how successful you are, and that has inspired me to pursue my career in space. Do you have any recommendations or suggestions for me? If there's somebody who is important and you get the letter back, this is going to make a big difference in your life. You're going to develop a relationship with that person that you write that letter to, a actual letter that you handwrite, not type out, handwrite, sign. So make sure it's readable. If it's not readable, you should probably type it. But I always find that handwritten letters are the best, and that's part of it. That's part of it. That's a big one. That's a big one. Everything I just said is really important. That part, writing that letter. You must do that if you want to work in the space industry. In India, there's so many students graduating with terrific academic backgrounds. So many brilliant people in India. Brilliant. Women, men, all different backgrounds. And so the opportunity is there to do something that India could really rise to the top in the space industry in the world, for sure. 100%. And that's exciting. So because you happen to be a student right now, you get to be at what's called the ground floor, where it starts. And people have already done the work because ISRO is very successful. So people in India are looking and thinking, maybe I should start a spaceship company. Those people that are adventurers and risk takers. Not me. I'm not into starting a company. Maybe you are. Maybe you really want to learn about business. If you want to learn about business, work for somebody so you learn it. Starting a company without learning about business is a great way to fail. And failing is important. A lot of the failures I've had in my life have led to the success I have now. Excuse me, airplane's going over. 1 second. One moment. It's a beautiful day here in Key West, Florida. I'm usually at Cape Canaveral. Today, my son lives down here, and I came to visit him, and then I'm going back up to Cape Canaveral where we launch the rockets later today. And where I was going to next is on a LinkedIn profile. I see a lot of people building their LinkedIn profile, and they either don't do enough or they do too much. They build it up in a way that isn't true, or they put too little on there without even a picture, and it doesn't even look good. Or they use all caps. They put their name in all caps. To everybody else in the world, when a person puts their name in all caps, it means that this is usually a child. So the spelling and the grammar and everything is very good on profiles, LinkedIn, Instagram, whichever profile you're using to represent yourself professionally. Ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for friends who are really good at whatever it is you want help at to support you. Ask for help. If you have a friend who's terrific with LinkedIn profiles or with English or with some social platform like Instagram, and they're really good at it, ask them for support. Ask them for support. Some people are naturally gifted at it. I see young students making Instagram channels that are really interesting. They aren't repeating the same information I see everywhere else. They are many students, like they start a channel, they get interesting speakers, and they do the work to be informed. It's not just about building a brand, and it's not just about finding a way to fit in. I believe that the students who are building the good channels have a passion for it. And if you have a passion for something, this leads to my third point. First point was write that letter. Write the letter to the person who may support you. Second point was make sure you're putting your best professional face forward. Make sure that when you have a social media presence, that it looks good, and ask for friends to support that. And the third thing is do what you love. Please do what you love. Do what you love. There is a saying that when we do what we love, we never work harder at anything our entire life. When we do what we love, we never work harder at anything. If we love a relationship, we will invest in that relationship. If we love a career, we will work and study. There's a great saying, study your business like homework. If you want to work in the space industry, but you're not doing the studying, and you're not finding out what company does what and who works where, and you're not studying the subject that you're an expert at. If you're an engineering and if you're an engineer and you have a passion for engineering, study engineering. Study the extra parts of it, so you're better so that you are a step above your peers. Anyone who's doing the exact same thing. Give yourself a critical competitive advantage. Again, the saying is study your business like homework. When we do what we love, we never work harder at it than anything. People don't have to talk me into. I was sick this morning and I got on this phone call because it matters that much to me. Not for my ego. Because one of you might be the next most important person in the entire world. As it was said at the beginning of this, space is going to solve the challenges we face on Earth. You might be that person that figures that out. If I didn't have this conversation with you, and maybe you only take away one thing, like study your business like homework. Maybe you only take away one thing, but that one thing is the thing that gets you to where we need you to be to make it work for all of us. Excuse me. All right. I think that's a good time to open it up to questions if there's any questions.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of questions. Now I would like
Really?
to. Yes, so there are a lot of questions. I would like to invite Jaivik for in asking all the questions, for conducting the question answer session, because we have received many questions on Instagram, on YouTube, on DMs. So
Wow.
Jaivik, now you can proceed with the question answer session.
Thank you, Suresh. Sir, it's an honor to have you and meet
Who is
you.
speaking? Who is
Uh,
speaking?
Sir, I'm Jaivik Dave.
Hi, Javik. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine. How are you?
Thank you for being here today.
Same here. Sir, I have some questions. So, can I begin?
Please.
Okay, so, sir, first question is what is the best way to learn about astronomy and space for a non-STEM person?
What? Okay. So, what is Javik? What does astronomy mean to you?
So, it's all about understanding the that whole chemistry of universe, understanding it, exploring it, observation, stargazing.
Yes, stargazing. So, primarily, astronomy means stargazing. So, space and astronautics is the way that I explain it. Astronomy is included in space and astronautics. Astronomy is a very specific field. It is for people who like to look at asteroids, people who like to look for exoplanets. Those are Earth-like planets in other solar systems. People who like to discover new asteroids, new near-Earth objects. People who like to learn about stars and other phenomenons in the universe. It's very specific astronomy. And if for a person who is not involved in the space industries or astronomy right now, but primarily the space industries right now, there's so much good information excuse me on the internet. So much. It's funny. Is it Javik? Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is it Javik? Javik. So it's funny. Here's the thing that's funny. How many students will message me a question that's so simple to answer, and all they have to do is Google it? When I was you, there was no internet, Javik. There was no Google. There was nothing like that. There was encyclopedias, and that's it. And so I got to go to the library. I got to ask people. That was the only way I found out information. And now here in the future, you and all the students here mostly have access to the internet. So when I said study your business like homework, when we have a real interest in something, for instance, a lot of students like to play cricket, a sport called cricket. Love it. They love it. And there's not that many cricket jobs to have, really. There's not that many. So if a student wants to play cricket, they're in competition with all the other people that want to play cricket. And that's millions of people. But if they wanted to do something that is unusual, and I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you an example. Here it is. Space sport. If a student wanted to do something unusual, space sport, well, there's not that many students that want to play space sports right now. It would put you at the front of the line because there's not that many people that even think about space sports. You could be studying the physics of space sports. You could be creating a new space sport yourself. The first space sport, the first sport in space. Yeah, maybe space cricket, maybe space football, space soccer, maybe. But what about some other sport? Because there's no gravity in space and there's no space limitation. There's plenty of space in space. So a new sport could be created and it could be you who invents it. There are so many different ways to make a connection with the space industry. 1 second. So when we love something, we cannot help but study it. When we love something, if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend you're attracted to, if there's somebody you're attracted to, we think about them all the time. We do nice things for them. We write letters. We send flowers. We have our friends try and make friends with them so that they'll introduce us. All of these things we do if we want to get in a relationship with another person, with a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Well, think of space industry like that. Do the same amount of work. Bring that same passion. Bring the same passion to a career in space. Javik, that is the answer to my question.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, before
Yes.
moving to other question, I have one question. Sir, sir, out of curiosity, sir, we are very curious that why do you wear this glasses upside down? Is it a style or what?
So this is a good question. I'm surprised it took this long to ask. So yeah, I had them made this way. You can see they have special lenses. They don't work this way. I could wear them like this, but I do different prescriptions. They don't work that way. 1 second. Another airplane. My goodness. A jet. And the answer to the question is pretty good, really. So I get to work with a lot of students. And when my glasses are like this, it gets students' attention pretty quick. And students will ask me right up front, why are your glasses like that? But grown-ups, we forget what it's like to be you. We forget what it's like to be younger than you. We forget what it's like to be a kid. And so a lot of the scientists and space professionals I work with, they contact me how to connect with students. I get to communicate with space professionals and science professionals how to connect and communicate with students. Because believe it or not, some grown-ups have forgotten how to do that. Some of you are really terrible at talking with kids already. Like you're like, oh, I'm a grown-up now and I don't want to talk with kids. Well, imagine when you were them, how it must have felt. Because you're the smart one right now. So you're the person that can give good insight to students. Not to be the boss, but to be the inspiration. So. Here's the thing. It's easy to get people's attention. Clearly, here we are right here. It's working. It's easy to get people's attention. What's important is to have something to say that's worth hearing after. It's easy to get people's attention. What's important is to have something to say that's worth hearing after you get their attention. And I got something important to say. Tomorrow's jobs are in space. We can solve all the challenges we face here on Earth by solving for space. We can solve for scarcity. We can solve for scarcity. We can solve for scarcity. The idea of scarcity we can solve. We can solve for that illusion. Because there's plenty on this planet and there's plenty off this planet. There's nobody on the planet who has to do without. That's the illusion of scarcity. And so that is the important, and so. And that is the important thing I have to communicate. And that's why I wear my glasses this way, so that I am sure to get everyone's attention. Pow, pow, pow. Thank you for asking.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful answer.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, sir. Hello. I got from the YouTube thread that someone is telling he wants to study and researches on cosmology. So he's telling how to become a cosmologist and what he had to do, any education, research, and you want to know about that.
Cosmology?
Yeah.
So what did they mean by cosmology, Kervi?
Hello.
What do they mean by cosmology? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, sir?
No, I
Hello.
didn't hear that. What? Hello, I can hear you now. What do they mean by cosmology?
Yes, sir. I mean, like it's a branch of astronomy that involves the origin and evolution of the universe.
Yes. Very first thing is to read. Oh my goodness. On that particular topic, there's so much reading to do. That is a lifelong journey. That study, that expression of cosmology, the creation of the universe. People look at it, people look to that subject for religious reasons. People look to it for scientific reasons. People look for both reasons. And we are, one grain of sand on this planet, one grain of sand. The entire planet is one grain of sand, and the planet is like the universe. So our tiny little grain of sand is trying to study the planet. It's an unlimited subject, unlimited. You just start. There's no way to study just cosmology, okay? We find things that interest us, like the formation of stars. And then we study those topics. If a person wants to pursue a career in cosmology, so to speak, they get to study the topics. And then in studying it, they're going to find the topic that interests them, the specific topic, not the broad topic. Cosmology is too broad. You're going to find the specific topic that leads you to the place that you want, that you're like, I'm going to study this for the rest of my life. And sometimes we pick things that we think we're going to study for the rest of our life, but we wind up switching subjects. So, I moved into the space industry after I was working in marine sciences before that. And then about 15 years ago, I moved to the space industry. And before that, I was working in computers. Like I worked on something called DARPANET, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency Network. This is prior to the internet. And it's what led me to where I am today. But I always pursued the passion that the reason I pursued computers and learned my first computer language, Fortran 77, was because I had a passion for it, and it held my attention. So when you're studying cosmology, study the thing that you have a passion for. Study the different features, the different features of the universe. Some people are caught up in things like the math of the universe, or quantum mechanics, or quantum propulsion. There's a thing called an M drive that really, whether it works or not, it helps our understanding of the makeup of everything. Dark energy, dark matter. These are things that find the thing that you connect with. That would be my answer. Kirby. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much for your answer,
Of course.
sir. Sir, the next question is a bit a curious one. Sir, I am a student, undergrad student, biotech
Mm-hmm.
field. Sir,
Okay.
if I want to be an astronaut, so what are
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity I should grab, and
And
how
who's
can I?
asking this
Is there?
question?
I'm Jaivik Dave again.
Oh, Javik. Hi. Okay.
Hi, sir.
Okay. So this is a good question. People ask me all the time, how do I get to be an astronaut? Okay. And the answer is this: you bring things to the table. When you want to be an astronaut, you get to develop other skills. You get to bring. I mean, a lot of astronauts are pilots. It's true, but there's a lot of astronauts who are scientists, and then other skills. We don't want somebody who's only good at one thing. We want somebody who's good at Dr. Cyan Proctor, who just got picked for the Inspiration 4 mission as the mission pilot. She has a PhD in geology, the study of rocks. Excuse me. She has a degree in nutrition. She has a degree in, well, she studied photography as a hobby. She has her pilot's license, yes, and now she loves art and poetry. She's bringing art and poetry to the mission, and she got picked because of that. Because in addition to being a pilot, she's an artist and a poet and a photographer. Do not undervalue the things that bring joy to your life. She's an artist because it makes her happy. If you have something that you love, do it. Bring that to the table. There's no career. There's no major for astronauts. You don't go study to be an astronaut in university or college. You study like biotech, and that's what you'll bring to the table. Okay?